This is why self-improvement is making you weaker. So let me start with something that's probably going to annoy you. If you're watching this and you consume a lot of self-improvement content, like a lot of us have in our journeys, there's a good chance that it's actually making you worse. Not lazy, not stupid, but worse. And if that sentence irritated you, then good. That means that it's landed close to home, and I'm not talking to men who are asleep. I'm talking to men who are self-aware, self-reflective, intelligent, yet still stuck. Men who know better, but don't live better. Men who've got potential leaking out of them every single day. And here's the most uncomfortable truth. Most self-improvement content today is not designed to change you. It's designed to soothe you and make you feel good in the moment. It gives you the language, the frameworks, the insights, a sense of, oh, yes, I get it now. And that easily replaces the feeling of wanting to take action. So you don't walk away from it transformed. You walk away from it feeling calmer, which feels like progress, but it isn't. That's why you can watch this stuff over and over again for years and feel the same quiet frustration underneath it all. You're not confused, you're over-informed and under-contained. So let me explain. If you're between 25 and 40 and you've been consuming this kind of content for a while, you already know these things. Consistency matters, habits matter, discipline beats motivation, time compounds. You don't need to hear that again ever in your life probably. You know it. The reason your life hasn't changed is not a lack of insight, it's a lack of the structure that survives your mood. And that's where most men get it so wrong. They think that the problem is motivation. So they look for content that will give them a spark. But sparks die so quick. Structure doesn't. But here's the most counterintuitive part that most people won't tell you because they want to sell you a system. Motivation is not the fuel. Motivation is the reward. It shows up after consistent action, not before it. So if you wait to feel ready, confident, or inspired, you're going to stay stuck in the same loop forever. And here's why it hurts so much to hear. Because if motivation isn't the issue, then the responsibility shifts back to you. And that's uncomfortable. It means the reason you're not where you want to be isn't because life is unfair or confusing. It's because you keep negotiating with yourself. Every single morning, I'll train later, I'll start journaling next week, I'll start doing subconscious reprogramming, I'll lock in when things calm down. So you call it flexibility, but it's actually avoidance. And avoidance is sneaky when you're functional because you go to work, you pay the bills, and you still look like you're doing okay. So nobody calls you out except from yourself. That's why the frustration never fully leaves you. You're not failing publicly, you're failing privately. And private failure is harder to confront because there's no external consequence, only internal erosion. But here's something I learned the hard way. When I was knee-deep in addiction and crime and debt, at least the consequences were completely obvious. Things blew up faster, my life was in crumbles. But when you're kind of doing all right, drifting feels safe. You're just getting by doing what you're doing, but it's not safe. It just kills you slower and more quietly. So I want you to listen to me carefully. Your problem is not that you don't know what to do. Your problem is that your life allows you too many exit routes, too many options, too much wiggle room, too much room to renegotiate with your standards and your daily systems when you don't feel like it, because you don't feel like taking action every day. But that's why you start so strong and then fade out so quick. That's why you have bursts of discipline followed by weeks of nothing. That's why you feel sharp one month and then flat the next, because your life has got no containment. And containment is actually what creates momentum and keeps it consistent. The men you look at and think, wow, he's so disciplined, that he's not special. They just removed the choice. They've decided in advance what happens regardless of mood. They don't wake up asking, do I feel like it today? They already decided who they are. That's why their confidence looks calm. Confidence is not hype. Confidence is self-trust. And self-trust only comes from keeping promises to yourself. Because right now, if you're honest, you don't fully trust yourself. You trust yourself to think. You trust yourself to plan. You trust yourself to keep on consuming that self-improvement content day after day, week after week. But do you trust yourself to still execute when it's boring, when nobody's watching, when there's no dopamine hit and you're not feeling motivated and powered up and charged up. That's the real gap. And that gap is exactly why watching more content won't save you. And in fact, here's the brutal truth. The more self-improvement content you consume without executing, the worse that shame and that internal dialogue gets, because now you can't even say that I didn't know. Yes, you do know. You're just not doing it. And then that gap creates self-hatred, self-despising, self-contempt. That's why so many men feel low-grade anxiety, restlessness or numbness, even though their life looks fine, because they're betraying themselves daily in small ways, and your nervous system is keeping score of it, trust me. Here's the part that might change how you see everything. Self-love does not come from acceptance. It comes from integrity, from living in alignment with your own standards. That's why telling yourself, be kind to yourself, doesn't work when you're avoiding the work. Your body and your mind knows when you're lying. What actually heals all the self-hatred and the self-despising is structure, clear rules, daily non-negotiables, daily actions. Not because structure's sexy, because it's not most of the time, but because it removes the constant internal debate. And when the debate stops, you can actually start living a life of enjoyment and peace. That's what saved me. It wasn't motivation, not inspiration, but structure. Daily actions that I did, whether I felt like it or whether I didn't feel like it. And at first, nothing magical happens. No confidence boost, no sudden clarity, just discomfort. But slowly, something's changing. I stopped hating myself, not because I felt good, but because I was acting with integrity. Every day that I followed through, my self-respect grew quietly. And that's the part that nobody sells, because it doesn't make flashy clips for social media and testimonials. Because self-respect is boring until you don't have it. And then it becomes absolutely everything. So if you're watching this and something feels uncomfortably accurate about what I'm saying and it stings a little bit, then good. That means that you're not numb yet. It means that you're ready for more structure instead of more information and more insight. That's why I built the Become Unfuckwithable blueprint in the first place. Not as motivation, not as content, as a containment system. The link's in the description, so download it for free, because it shows you how to design your days so your emotions don't run the show anymore. So you stop drifting, so you stop negotiating, so you start building evidence that you're somebody who follows through on good days, on bad days. It's free because information is not the bottleneck, commitment is. I want you to have transformation instead of information, but I'll say this honestly. Some men don't need another solo framework. They need pressure. They need a mirror that's held up without all the fluff. That's exactly what the Power Hour Breakthrough Call is for. One focused hour where we strip away the stories, identify exactly where you're leaking energy, and lock in a structure that you can actually stick to. Not motivation, no therapy talk, just clarity and direction. But here's the urgency, and it's real. Not everybody who feels the tension does something about it. Some men numb it with distractions, some rationalise it away, some just let the years keep on passing by, week by week, month by month, and then eventually year by year. And one day, it's too late to pretend that you're just figuring things out. So if you're still here and you've not clicked off yet, this is your moment. Not because you're hyped up, not because I've told you some mad motivational words that have made you feel good, but because you're tired of lying to yourself. So download the blueprint. The link's in the description, a free download. Apply it properly. And if you know you need accountability and clarity, book the Power Hour Breakthrough Call. Stop consuming content that confirms what you already know and start taking action on it. Start installing a structure that forces change, because this isn't about becoming extraordinary. It's about stopping the quiet self-betrayal, and that changes everything. So click through. I'll see you on the next video, but don't bother clicking onto the next video until you've downloaded the Become Unfuckwithable blueprint. It's there for you in the description. Free download. It's changed so many of my clients' lives, and it's changed my life too. And if you want proof that it works, go to my website and see all the client wins and the testimonials and the client spotlights of the men who come before you, who are in a similar situation to you. You'll probably see similarities in their stories and in your story. Download it, implement it into your life, start building that daily momentum that compounds over time. So instead of being in a downward spiral that compounds day after day, week after week, month after month, you're in an upward spiral that's going like this, bit by bit, by bit by bit. And because time goes by fast. So in 2 years, in 5 years, you're going to arrive at a destination. Much better it be a destination that you've been building powerful momentum towards day after day. Let's fucking have it.